What's happening? IG Live. What's going on? I hope everybody's enjoying this Saturday. I just wanted to jump on here real quick and actually speak about the post I put up the other day and re emphasized yesterday about the golden era hip hop radio 1987 1992. All right. So basically, what I did, there's a little thing out that a lot of you all probably seen this advertised before and maybe didn't know what it was, but it's this thing right here. What it is, it's a converter. You can put cassette tapes in here, old tapes, and you can plug it into your laptop. So you've got this cord, and then you can convert the tapes to MP3. So I happen to have some old tapes from WHPK radio station here in Chicago. HPK, it's not one of the big stations, but it's been around for a long time. It's located in Hyde Park, and you have to be in a certain part of the city to be able to hear them. So when I was coming up in the 80s, I ended up, actually one of my older cousins discovered WHPK in 1985. At the time, the house music scene was real big in Chicago. I was at one of my cousins' house. My cousin George lives in Atlanta. I was at his house on a Friday night, and we were listening to WBMX, and we were taping house music. Farley was on that night, DJ Farley, Funkin' Keith, or he might have been Farley Jackmaster Funk still at the time. So he had some real hot mixes that night, and the next day, that Saturday, another one of our cousins named John, who goes by the name John Muhammad, he's a DJ. He came in the next day, and we were like, "Man, did you hear Farley last night?" And he was like, "Man, I was listening to another station. I couldn't turn to Farley." We were like, "Man, you missed it." And he was like, "No, y'all missed it." So he ended up playing us a tape from WHPK. He didn't even know the name of the station. He couldn't remember the number, nothing. But he was like, it's somewhere over there in the late 80s, early 90s on the dial. And it turned out to be a DJ named Lee Collins, who had what I consider to be the greatest house music show in Chicago radio history. So that was my introduction to WHPK. And I started listening to Lee Collins exclusively after that till he went off the air in like October 86. But in August of 86, I started really getting heavily into rap. My second day of high school coming home, there was a cat on the bus with a radio, and he was playing a tape of Run DMC Raising Hell. And all the kids on the back of the bus knew all the words to the songs. It was mostly girls, too. So that really got my attention. And so I was like, man, I got to get this. This is it right here. So that day, even though I was aware of raps before that, that was the day that it shifted. It was like house was real big, but I was like, I got to get into this rap thing. And so I happened to talk to one of my guys that I went to school with. He dubbed a copy. He actually recorded it on record, gave me the tape. And then I was talking to another one of my friends who was still in 8th grade, a good friend of mine named Avis Branch at the time. And now she's Avis Wesley. And I remember her telling me, she was like, well, they play raps on WHPK on Saturday afternoons. And I was like, what? For real? Okay. So I turned HPK that Saturday, and that was like walking into a whole new world. Like all the rappers sounded like they was either in high school or hadn't been out there long. Most of the subject matters was high school oriented, and I heard a lot of the hottest rappers at the time was Run DMC, Houdini, Fat Boys, and LL Cool J. But they played all of them, but they also played a lot of rappers who were brand new at the time. I hadn't been out there long, many of whom ended up becoming legends. So I heard the very first record from Eric B. and Rakim that day. I heard the Beastie Boys. They hadn't been out that long. They hadn't had no album yet. I heard a couple of cuts from them. They played who else? Boogie Down Productions. They were new. And I remember hearing some girls come on. It's like Salt and Pepper is back, and we came to out rap you. So get out my face before I smack you. Oh, I was like, damn, what's these chicks? Salt and Pepper, I take your man. So after that, I was hooked on raps, and I started taping the raps off WHPK 88.5 in Chicago. Now I don't have it in the tapes from '86. I had a whole bunch of tapes from like '86 to about '91 or so, '92. But I did end up still having like 10 of them. So what I did the past couple of weeks was I used this thing to put those tapes and preserve them as MP3s. I turned them into YouTube clips, and I put the MP3s on Mixcloud and basically made a whole playlist on each page, called it Golden Era Hip Hop Radio 1987, 1992. And the thing is, the tapes that I have is real cool to hear. I mean, you can hear these older rap songs pretty much anywhere in a lot of cases, but it's a whole nother thing to hear the original radio broadcast and hear these songs when they were out, when they were new. It's a whole different thing. And HPK, the thing that was different about them is they could play anything, because they moved the rap show on Saturday from afternoon to night, and they had a late night show on Friday, and eventually added one on Wednesday. So they was on after like midnight or whatever. So they could play the raps with the cursing. At first, it wasn't really that many raps with cursing anyway, but if there were some, they could play them, and they would play anything that was good, whether the rappers were well known already, if they was just coming out. If it was hot, they played it. So I got a chance to hear a lot of that, and a lot of these tapes have some of that stuff. You hear the popular rappers and the underground rappers. Like, for example, this is the oldest tape that I have. This is from July 31st, 1987. It was the night Run DMC and the Beastie Boys were in town for a concert. So you hear, stuff that was out in summer '87, like Public Enemy. They talk about the new Eric B. and Rakim album, Paid in Full. And they debuted the song Paid in Full, and I Ain't No Joke that night. You hear, some older cuts from Run DMC and the Beastie Boys. So, and I fell asleep taping this that night. So you hear the guy who was on the air, his name was K-Ill. His name was Ken. He called himself K-Ill. So I actually fell asleep taping. So you hear him talking toward the end. And it's kind of cool, to hear him talking about the different songs or whatever. But so that's '87. I got this tape here. This is from early, like January 1988. And back then, a lot of times as a teenager, like I said, house was real big and rap was coming on. So sometimes I would have tapes where one side might be raps and one side might be house or something like that. I typically didn't listen to both of them at the same time. I would always be one or the other. I was totally into raps, and then I might get tired of it. I'm gonna go back to house for a while, and then I get sick of that, go back to. It wasn't until '90 when I would listen to both of them equally. But I was totally into it, and because HBK played some of everything, my knowledge of that era for rap is so strong. Because, like I said, they played all the hot stuff. So if you want to hear these tapes, this is from '87. I wish I had some more from summer '88. That was from '88. This one here from '89 is probably the best one to me. A lot of great stuff. LL Cool J, Kool Moe Dee, EPMD, all the legends that you could think of from the golden era on these tapes in this playlist that I made, as well as the underground rappers at the time like Schoolie D, Just Ice, King Son, King T, YZ, a bunch of them. All of that stuff mixed in. Like I said, you can hear all this stuff new. So if yes, Kool Moe Dee, I agree. What's happening, man? Hey, how you doing? Yeah, all of these cats were, all this stuff was new, and it's really exciting to me to hear. You can hear the energy from those records from that time, hearing them all together in the radio broadcast. So if you want to check them out, if you're a fan of that, what they call the golden era of hip hop radio, of hip hop period, you can hear these radio broadcasts that were done. You hear the full songs. It's only a little bit of talking on some of them, but mainly not too much at all. You can go on YouTube. My YouTube channel is MC Marcus Chapman, and there's a playlist that says 1987, 1992 Golden Era Hip Hop Radio. If you go on Mixcloud, it's just go to Marcus Chapman Hip Hop. That's the page, and you can listen to all these songs. The only thing, the Mixcloud is better only because all the songs on there with the YouTube clips, a couple of songs had to be edited out because they got flagged for copyright. Matter of fact, the 10th tape, volume 10, is only on Mixcloud because when I tried to upload it on YouTube, it got like 5, 6 songs got flagged, and I was like, well, forget it. I'm just I ain't about to edit all them songs. So, and then there's also a real cool mix from 1990 done by a DJ named Eric the Wiz, who was on GCI. I got that from my boy Ed Fairchild in college, and I put that up there as well. It's actually in 2 of the different tapes from 1990s, volume 6 and volume 9. No, volume 6 and volume 8. It's on both of those because that's how hot that mix was, like an 18-minute mix. And on YouTube, it has its own clip because I kind of tested it out with that. All right. If you hear that beeping, that's my cooking timer telling me to turn my steak over because I'm cooking dinner. So anyway, so go to mixcloud.com/Marcus Chapman Hip Hop, or you can go on YouTube to the MC Marcus Chapman page, go to the playlist 1987 to 1992 Golden Era Hip Hop Radio, volumes 1 through 10. So it's like a whole lot of music, over 200 artists. I mean, over 200 songs, over 85 artists. For, I don't know, I forget how many hours of music it is, 12 hours. So check that out. Enjoy it. I was glad to share it. And, you can leave comments or whatever. Let me know what you think. But it's there for you to check it out. And props out to HBK, WHBK at 8.5. I actually went up there one time in the summer of 1993, met JP Chill. He recorded something for me. I can't remember. But just want to give props to JP Chill, K Ill, Chili Q, Sir King, Ken, DJ Quick Hands, Icebox, all the guys up there who were playing the raps in the 80s and early 90s. WHBK is still around. I don't know. I guess they have a hip hop show, but it's a whole different thing now. But yes, so check all that out. Enjoy that Golden Era Hip Hop Radio, volumes 1 through 10. Real quick. You can hear some rarities too, like the original demo version of the Booming System by LL Cool J, which was different from not just the one on his album, but even the one with the In Vogue beat that was the underground mix on the 12-inch single. I met LL in 2002 and I asked him why the one on the album didn't have the In Vogue beat, and he was just like, clearance problems, But the demo had the In Vogue beat, but it's different from the one on the album, a little bit different. So, and there's a rare 9-minute remix of Bonita Applebum from Tribe Called Quest. They had the original, they had a remix, and then there's a 9-minute version that combines them, and the beat is a little sexier, got some sexy moaning and all this stuff. So all that's in there too. All right. So enjoy the playlist, Golden Era Hip Hop Radio, volumes 1 through 10 on YouTube, on Mixcloud. Go to my pages, check them out, enjoy them. Take care. All right. Later.